What's going on, guys? We're going to do a little Sunday stock market technical analysis recap. As a day trader, I've been full-time for over 6 years now. We need to be prepared for both sides of the market. As hot as a market that we've been in, especially in the NASDAQ 100 with a lot of tech names up, some of them over 100% on the year alone, we always need to be ready for the day-to-day kind of ups and downs and be ready for those rest periods and be ready for those pullbacks. There's a few stocks that I want to go ahead and dive into. We're going to just kind of look at a basket of names here, some of the names that I like to trade on a day in and day out basis. And we're going to kind of see the levels as to potentially where we could play for a little bit of that downside move to kind of capture a little bit of profits on the way. It's looking at Amazon here. The close that we had on Friday, a little bit of an inverse hammer. Although Amazon did close green on the day, it had a nice gap up, came up to the upper Bollinger Band, put in a top wick of around 126.46, 48 in that area, and closed at 124.25. So what I'm looking at here on Amazon is going to be very, very simple. All we're looking for is 125 to the downside. Now with that, we're going to have a little bit of support here at around 123. And that 123 is just going back to the wick on the 1st as well as the 30th here. So just kind of keep that in mind. We might come into this area, come down 30, 40, 50 cents, have a little bit of an intraday bounce before a continued follow through. But our hard support that we're looking at here is 121.85s. That's our rising 5-day moving average. You can see that green line here. We've been kind of holding and riding this the past 3-4 days now. Every time we kind of came in, we bounce, right? So are we going to get this back test here? This is a trade that I would be looking for to the short side, 124 with a potential of around 121. Another stock that I'm looking at is the hottest stock of 2023. That's Nvda. So Nvda has been on a phenomenal run here. Nvidia's got a little bit of a two-sided trade opportunity. Anything over 405, we do have room long back up to test that high wick of 420. But what I'm really looking at here is Nvidia closed at the bottom of the range, which is resting at this 5-day moving average. I'm looking at a price point of 390 to the downside. So 390 to the downside, our first profit potential is going to be around 380s, 385, 384, 383. Any close below 384, 383 has next room down to around 378. And then obviously just kind of looking at this chart, we've got a big gap to be filled here all the way down to 357. Now I wouldn't be shooting for the 390 to 357 swing, although it could happen. It's just going to take a little bit more time to kind of progress and play out. Again, this can come down 4 or 5 points. I want you guys to all make money on that downside. Just kind of lock in those profits and we can play Nvidia on a day-by-day basis, kind of just playing this down as we go along. But again, not all stocks are going to be looking for short opportunities. What I'm looking at here is Google. If you look at Google, Google's kind of been basing out here since the 19th, right? So if we look at the 19th, we put in this high wick here at around 126, 126.40s. It's essentially been going sideways, a little down, a little up, a little down. As of right now, again, inverse hammer candle. One thing I'd be looking for to the downside if the market does correct as a whole, anything below 123.45 on a daily candle close has room down to 122, and then anything below the 122 definitely can come down and kind of test this support at around 119. But this basing out period here, if we do have a continued push here in tech, I would be looking for a 126.25 breakout. Anything over 126.50 has room all the way up to 130. So that can present a perfect opportunity for a trade on Google to the long side. But again, just keep in mind that we are coming down into these supports as well. But again, that's why being a trader, you can have levels and pivots in areas of interest where you can look at not only to the short side, but to the long side. So if the market does either or, we are automatically ready to react to that price action. Let's just quickly take a look at the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100 market as a whole. 355.83, we did put in that high. We are riding up against this upper Bollinger Band, and we are a little extended from our 5-day moving average support. It's sitting at around 350. So again, look for maybe a couple of days of consolidation. Do not get chopped up if we don't make a new high and we don't break the previous low. We could be looking at a holding pattern here where maybe we take 3, 4, 5 days and kind of go into what's called that distribution cycle where the market doesn't really break out higher, but it's not going lower as well. Those times tend to chop traders up tremendously. We'll take a look at another stock that I do love to trade, and that was Tesla. I did take advantage of Tesla to the long side the last 2-3 days. Realistically, that level I was looking at on Tesla was that breakout over the linear regression and the 200-day moving average. So you can see once we popped that 200-day moving average at around 204, we kind of came back down, lost the area, but never really lost our power trending SMA, which is this 5-day moving average here. If you look at the 5-day moving average that was sitting at around 193, 194, we kind of came back down, we held, and once we really reclaimed this 200-day moving average the second time, you can really see here on Thursday, which was the first, we got that initial breakout over that 204.50s, and that went all the way to a price of 216. So this was a fantastic trade there. If you guys did trade Tesla and you guys are long, again, make sure you're locking in those profits along the way. There's nothing that says that we absolutely need to continue higher. If you are looking for a little bit of a short position on Tesla, anything below 209.70s, we do have room to kind of pull back into this support all the way down to 203. So that would be your profit potential between 203 and 205, and your stop loss would be anything over this close, maybe 214, 215. Again, depending on how much risk you want to give it. You obviously have a top wick sitting here in the 216s and 217s. That would be a lot of risk depending on your position sizing. But again, if you're going to play a little bit smaller and you're going to build into the short position just on a pure back test, you could use the top wick, which is 217.35, as your stop loss. And as long as we don't put in a new high, we can continue to try to capture some of this pullback to the downside if that happens. Again, if we just pull back a little bit, maybe you get in for a little bit of a scalp here and then the market quickly reverses, I would then kind of sit and wait for the 217, 218 break, and then I would play that up. We did have a lot of 230, 240, and 250 calls for this year, within the next 1 to 2 months that came across the options flow. So definitely, especially if you are trading a lot of these bigger names, look at that options flow. What you want to see is that big money bets being placed, and you want to put your money with that momentum when those moves start to confirm. So just because you're maybe watching options flow, and let's say, we see $1 million bet coming for Tesla calls that expire next month and the strike price is 230, doesn't mean to go ahead and jump in. What we want to do is jump in when the price action starts confirming that new breakout level, which would be that 217, 218 level on Tesla. But again, until we do that, let's go ahead and capture some money on any sort of pullback, on any sort of consolidation or distribution cycle, any sort of pullback into rising support. We want to make sure we capture that money on the way down and then kind of sit patiently and wait for that next move. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. If you are following, or you're just new to my channel, or you're new to me in general, I've got over 2,000 videos on YouTube where I kind of do these market updates and technical analysis updates. I do my trade recaps. If you want to join the Discord, that link's down in the description box below, and I'll see you guys all next time.